guys, I'm Bethany.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is Looking for the Middle.
CouchCast edition.
First CouchCast of the season.
Oh my gosh.
And this is going to be such a fun question.
This is a great question. We just got this one in on our form like a week ago.
Yeah, I feel like we should probably tell people we don't really draw these out of a hat anymore. We're like sitting here 2 minutes before, we're like, what do we want to talk about? And go.
And go, yes.
Trying to put them all in a hat is just a little bit
We've got
much.
too many to pick from now.
Which is so great. Don't get me wrong. But we're like, let's talk about this.
Yes, exactly.
So,
we
Kristen
saw this
read me the question like 5 minutes ago, and here we are.
Yes, it's a good one. Okay, so it's got a backstory, which we know how much we love. Y'all love it. So here we go. I love how she says, sorry in advance because this question needs a lot of explanation. I have a friend who is getting to know someone. They've been on one date and have texted a couple of times most days since. Not novels, but just checking in, thinking about you type texts. He was recently out of town, so they didn't text while he was on his trip. She texted him when he was on his way home, though, and he responded quickly from the plane. She responded to that message, but hasn't heard back from him since, 3 days ago at this point. And she's wondering if her message went through. They both have iPhones, but it says sent as a text message. I hate when that happens. So here comes the actual question. Should she message him again? She's not wanting to message him because, quote, if he wanted to reach out, he would. And because she doesn't want to be the person to initiate contact twice in a row because she doesn't want to seem obsessive or clingy. And I agree with that, but if he didn't actually get her text message, would he think she's not interested anymore? I've told her to give this guy the benefit of the doubt that he didn't get her text and reach out to him, especially with potential texting/technology issues. She's talked to other people, including her friend's husband, who have said that she should wait for him to message her again, and that's what she's planning on doing. But what would your advice be? Or just in general when it comes to things like this? What's the balance between giving someone the benefit of the doubt and, quote, if he wants to talk to me, he will?
Love this.
I love this too.
Now, before we get into all the fun details, gut reaction, should she message him? Go.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think she should.
I think she should too.
And here's why. What have you got to lose?
Exactly my thought.
If it's not going to work out, it's not going to matter whether or not you text him one more time, but it might change something. Like maybe he didn't get the text. Maybe he's thinking the same thing. And it's dead in the water now if neither of you text each other. So what's one little text going to hurt? That's my thought.
The pain of rejection doesn't last as long as the pain of wondering what if.
Absolutely.
And the whole time, if you don't text him, you're going to be wondering, well, what if he thought that what if he thought I was ignoring him? Or what if he thought I ghosted him? Or what? And you never know. Just go for it. And like Bethany said, if it's going to end, it's going to end. But at least you know for sure.
Yep.
And it wasn't for lack of trying.
Yes.
Whereas if you don't, I don't think sending 2 texts in a row is clingy.
No.
If you sent 6, different conversation.
Totally.
But
especially when it's 1 and then it's been 3 days.
Yeah.
Totally different.
I think that's fine.
Now, playing devil's advocate a little.
Of course, Bethany always has to play.
I'm just saying, I would not be as quick. I think I would still say, yeah, message him. But I wouldn't be as quick or forceful in saying that if it weren't for the whole, it was sent as a text message, iPhone. There's definitely some room for technology error here.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, absolutely text him.
I typically, that's just a practice I have in my normal life, is if I'm texting someone with an iPhone and it goes through as a text, I send it again.
Yeah.
When I have service, just to make sure.
Yeah.
And half the time people probably get it twice, but they just don't tell me.
Yeah. And it's a real easy, hey, I realized this went through as a green text. Just want to make sure you got it. Copy and paste the message again below.
Yeah, that's great.
Super easy. It's not like, why didn't you text me back? Mm-hmm. And I'm obsessively checking my phone every 5 minutes. It's just like, oh, especially if they've been texting every day.
Yep.
Now, if it's just been like, hey, how was your day? Great. How was yours? Every day after they went out, maybe it was going to taper anyway. But you want to know for sure.
Exactly. You do want to know. So for this scenario particularly, I would say message him.
Yeah. And then because I will say there has been a shift in the pattern. Mm-hmm. You were texting every day and now suddenly you're not.
Yeah.
So whether that's because of a lack of interest or because he didn't get the text, you don't know. So I guess that's the thing, is I would just want to know for sure.
Yeah. And I think the friend who wrote in the message made a great point of, if it didn't go through, then it's very possible he's wondering the exact same thing.
Because it was her turn to text,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And so
it was obviously something that warranted a response because she responded.
Because she responded. And so, and who knows? I mean, again, me trying to put myself in the male brain is hilarious. But like, what if, okay, you didn't text on this trip, which is fine, totally cool. He texts her or she texts him on his way home. He responds, and then he doesn't get anything from her. He could be thinking, oh, maybe she's mad that I didn't text her on my trip, and now she doesn't want to talk to me anymore.
Yeah.
You could be going that route too. So there's a lot of ambiguity here.
Yes.
That needs some clearing up.
Yes, I think too we have kind of gotten this skewed idea of with texting of not really skewed, but who texts who first. Now, with anyone, if you are always the only person ever initiating any sort of conversation with them, like if you didn't, they would never talk to you, then that's a problem. But as girls, just because you text a guy first does not mean you are
Clingy,
stepping on
needy,
his
obsessive.
well, but also not stepping on his toes of like leading.
Oh yeah,
I feel like
true.
we kind of have
Yep.
skewed that a little of like, well, if he was going to lead this relationship, then he would text me first.
Mm-hmm. That's not
I don't
true.
think that's fair.
No.
Not all guys like texting.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them are good at it. And if you gauge their entire interest level based on how often they text you, but then everything else would indicate all systems go, you're kind of shortchanging yourself there, I think.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So, yeah, I think for her, text him. Now, main overarching question. Difference between giving a guy the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And
like if you know the message went through.
Yeah, and if he wants to talk to me, he'll talk to me.
Okay. I am all for, okay, don't pester him. If he wants to talk to you, he will. But even if you know absolutely certainly that your last text went through, I don't think texting him 3 days later is too far. Like, I don't think you've gotten to, if he wanted to text me, he would text me territory from the details we have with this yet. I think, especially if this has kind of been the tenor of your texts anyway, it's been a few days, but I would send, hey, I was thinking about you. Hope you're having a great day. How'd your trip go? Or how are you recovering from your trip? Or whatever. Lighthearted, leave it at that. It seems like that matches what they've been talking about. Now, if he doesn't respond to that or is super short, then I would drop it. I think a key to that next text where you're technically like double texting him is to put a direct question in it.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I think so, because then it's not helpful when you send a text to somebody and there's really like it doesn't elicit a response.
Exactly.
Because if you're in that kind of ambiguous
kind of
place,
furthering the ambiguity
yeah,
a little.
exactly. Like ask him a question and not a yes or no question. Try to figure out an open-ended one, because that's going to help you tell, like you said, if it's short and he's like, oh, I'm doing great.
Fine.
Good, whatever.
Yeah.
Or, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted, but like I'm getting there. Work's been crazy, blah, 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 and he's, giving you all this to work with. There's a difference there. So, yes, open-ended question and give him something to respond to. And then, like you said, if he doesn't, or if he's short and this is your second time and trying to reach out, okay, then yeah, that's kind of, you take the hint there, which sucks because ideally we would like somebody to be like, hey, I'm not feeling it anymore. I'm really sorry. Wish you all the best. But unfortunately, not everybody does that. So couple short responses, couple non-responses, then drop it. But going for the second time, because you can't pick up on a new pattern if there isn't a second time.
Exactly.
So if you're only going off of one non-responded to message, especially depending on what that message was.
Yeah, which we don't know. And
that's going to be different for everybody. Like, you can't make assumptions based on one event. I tell my dad all the time that, because backstory, and this will make sense, I promise, but like my mom is really good at reading people. My dad, not so much, but he likes to think he is. And so my dad, like if he has one bad interaction with you, if that's your first interaction with him, that's tainting you. And like he's very big on first impressions.
Okay.
I should probably say that's a better way to put it, than he doesn't read people well. Because he's not terrible at
I know
it.
what you
but
mean.
You know what I mean. So, and I've told him, I'm like, Dad, that person could have just been having a really bad day. And unfortunately that's your first, but like there are people that have probably interact with you when you're having a bad day.
Yeah.
And you're a great person and you're so nice, but they wouldn't think that based on that one thing. Now, if you're a jerk to him 3 times, there you go. Same thing goes here. If you have this one bad interaction with him, okay, maybe it's a fluke. You don't know until you try again. Now, again, if there's a pattern here, then you act on that.
Well, and think through too, like these text interactions you've had with a guy, do you normally text him first? If you do, that's 100% fine. But now he didn't respond to a text you wanted him to. And you're like, well, if he wants to talk to me, he will. And so now you're not initiating any texting. Well, in his mind, it's like, she normally talks to me, but now she's not. So I don't want to bother her. I'm not really sure. Maybe, like you said, maybe she's mad at me, whatever. Now, is any of that an excuse for two people to not just say, hey, what's up? No. But at the same time, didn't they say they've been on one date?
One date.
This is not
so far
relationship territory.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm still like, what do you have to lose? You went on a date with a guy, you like talking to him, you'd like to keep talking to him. So keep talking to him till he stops talking to you.
Yeah. Communicate.
Yeah.
You won't know if you don't communicate.
Yeah. And I am saying this from a place, hear me, of I learned this by doing it. I don't want to say I learned it the hard way, but several years ago, I would have been like, absolutely not. If he wants to talk to me, he will. And that has burned me some to where I'm like, oh, I really thought he would talk to me and he didn't. And I really wanted to keep talking to this guy or whatever. So now I am like,
go for it. Yeah.
So I feel ya. I've been there. I get it. But I can tell you from the other side, you will be so glad you know for sure.
Yeah. Those what if scenarios,
they're the worst.
Go with you to the grave.
They do.
They're
Even if it's
awful.
just one date, you're 6 months from now, if you've gone out with dates with a couple other people and it didn't work out, you're sitting there going, well, man, I wonder what would have happened if I had just texted, Bobby, kind of thing.
Good old Bobby.
Bobby hasn't made an appearance in a while.
No, he hasn't.
So text him.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
I feel like Dwight in the office. Do it.
Do it.
Text him
Do it.
now.
Do it now.
3, 2, 1. Text him.
So true. Just go watch that episode if you need motivation. All right. No, I think that's good. I think we'll wrap it there.
Sounds good.
All right. Great question. Thank you to our faithful listener who sent this in. If you have a question you would like us to answer on a CouchCast, there is a form in our Instagram bio at LFTM_podcast. There's a CouchCast submissions form for girls. And then if you're a dude listening, we have a Backstage Pass form, which is basically, we do this, but answering guys' questions from a girl's perspective. So we would love to hear from you. So go do that if you have a question for us. But we will be back on Wednesday with another full-length episode. But until then, I'm Kristen.
And I'm Bethany.
And this is Looking for the Middle.